Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime. Thought I'd have a little lip balm before we started. This is your weekly look inside San Diego Soccer's and the Major Arena Soccer League, here with you for Season 8, Episode 18. It's the Last Chance Saloon. One more weekend of action. Will the Sockers finish first, second, third, fourth, fifth? It's all on the line. It's all possible. This is the last time before we know for sure. This is the last show before the Ron Newman Cup playoffs. Great to be here with you. Kraig Elston, Tony Sanchez joining you as we do every Wednesday at 6 o'clock for Soccer's Overtime. Wonderful to have you here. We are doing this, actually recording it a day early, and it's playing on SanDiego.Futbol Wednesday at 6 o'clock like it's supposed to, because we are very busy soccer people here in the city of San Diego. We got a lot to do. Both Tony and I are now in two places at once. We are at Snapdragon Stadium. He's in the press box. I'm in the PA booth for San Diego Wave Portland Thorns, which is kicking off an hour from now as you watch live. But the night before, here we are in our San Diego Soccer's virtual world to bring you Soccer's Overtime. Tony, how are you?
Well, I am enjoying this back-to-back weekends and weekdays of soccer. And honestly, I have MASL on my mind because that's the most exciting thing happening soccer-wise here in San Diego. And, honestly, around the nation. This MASL league has been really fun this year. It's
been absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, which means it's like I almost don't want it to be over with. Like when you're in a really good movie and you're about to get to the final denouement, you're like, I don't know. Or the final episode of a season, a great season of television. Do I even want to watch this one? Do I want to save it for the summer? I could have saved a couple of these game tapes for the summer, that's for sure. Here's what's coming up on the show tonight. We've got a double dip for you because for the first time in the history of the world, soccer's men and soccer's women played on the same day at Front Wave Arena. We've got a double recap for you, a dynamic debut for Soccer's W, while the men mounted a desperate comeback just in time to take 2 points from St. Louis and keep first place alive into the last weekend. We've got a pair of recaps for you from Sunday at Front Wave Arena. Then, Soccer's W captain Ashley Nick, a 12-year professional women's soccer player, many years in the NWSL, many years overseas, taking her talents indoors. She will make her debut on the show, tell us about the creation of the team, look ahead to the second appearance for Soccer's W, which will be this Sunday afternoon in Ontario, a match that if you're a Soccer's fan and you're going to be at Front Wave Arena, you can watch it on YouTube, and we're certainly going to have it on in the booth. Then, well, if we're going to have captains on, let's just have captains on, shall we? The men's captain, Kraig Chiles, might be down and out in terms of playing, but he's still got a keen mind to help guide San Diego to and through these playoffs. We'll chat to Kraig about his feelings on what's going on with the team, ask him if there's any chance for him to be back on the field by the end of the season, and plenty more. In MASL news, it's the craziest season in league history. It does end on Sunday. The playoffs will begin next week. Will San Diego be a part of that first weekend of playoffs, or will they get the bye that they have coveted since day one? We've got the exact math for you. We've got the numbers. We know better than we did Sunday when I screwed it up live on the air. We know, and we're going to tell you exactly what needs to happen and how for San Diego to either finish first or second place in the MASL. And then in Soccer's news, we'll tip our cap to Chris Toth, and we'll figure out who's available as the club goes for 2 wins this weekend. It's gonna take 2. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to take 2. If you enjoy Soccer's Overtime and you're enjoying what we're bringing you each and every week here, courtesy of SanDiego.Futbol, please hit that thumbs up button to say that you like the show. That's going to help other indoor fans find the show. Please hit subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time SanDiego.Futbol goes live with this program and others. If you are listening to the audio version of the show, and you can drop that quick little 5-star rating right below us under our show name, even leave a kind written review. All those things are great. We appreciate it. It's really a video show now. We play a lot of highlights. We're on camera the whole time. But for everyone who's listening on audio, it's all good. But you can find us on YouTube, so check it out. Okay. All right. Let's start with soccer's W, shall we, Tony?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody knew necessarily what to expect, but when you and I got the rosters and the bio breakdowns of the women, close to 20 women on each side that would play for Soccer's W and Striker's W. I don't know about you, but I immediately got impressed, intrigued, and started to raise my expectation level of what we would see.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that there was talent just on paper, and that's something that really excited me moving into this exhibition match. And again, you get the title and moniker of exhibition match. In a time of exhibition boxing matches, you're just kind of like, well, it's just going to be for the pageantry. They're doing this. No, this was an actual good game with good players, with a lot of great caliber of indoor IQ as well, not just on the outdoor game, but just really an exciting time to see players start to learn, develop, but also be proud to represent the teams that they had on the jersey, on the crest. And so, it's really cool to see what was able to also be represented, not just locally, internationally in this match. Just a great way to start. But yeah, starting with some of those teams, I saw Rayadas de Monterrey, Cholos Femenil, some European talent as well, local talent, local, coaches, people who are out there in the community teaching all of these fundamental things. And that's what really kind of captivated me, is the fact that it wasn't just a practice, it was a go, go, go. And the match, as exhibition as it may have been called, I don't think it was that for the people and the players involved.
No, for the players involved, it was a very serious match. It was the first time to represent a concept, right? To represent the idea that women's professional indoor soccer is something that could exist on a big time level. Now, we don't want to come in here acting like Soccer's W invented cheese. Okay. MASLW exists. It's a real thing. It's a thing that still happens. They crowned their champion on Sunday. It's a 22 team, 5-division league, MASLW. They're unsurprisingly Iowa, featuring many of the returning members of last year's champion, which was Chihuahua Femenil. Iowa takes the dub and is MASLW champion. But when you take a look, and I'm just coming at this kind of from the outside, of a professional out here in California. When you take a look at where MASLW is right now, I think it's semi-professional, in the most honorable sense. Everybody's got another job, and I'm not saying that's not the same or would not be the same here in San Diego. There's a lot of practice facility type situations, 500-seat arenas, 1,000-seat arenas, the types of place that we used to see in the MASL, like where Turlock used to play, where Sacramento used to play. I could go through a Phoenix back in the day. I could go through a list of teams that the San Diego Sockers played and beat as a professional soccer club that played in places that were not extraordinarily professional. So and then the other thing is, Tony, when you look through MASLW right now, there aren't a ton of connections between leagues. There's not a lot of MASL teams that are sponsoring and harboring and creating underneath their umbrella MASLW teams. So in that sense, I think what Phil Salvaggio and Jeff Burham are doing out here in California by putting big-time MASL team names behind these franchises is really making an attempt to take what is currently cool league, really good, fun for the players, but essentially not that different from what you could find at Sportsplex or at the Y, just like the most refined version of that. Well, here's the killer women's league in the country. But take that to that next step where you're selling tickets seriously, where you're bringing in big time professional talent and trying to raise the level and create a league that women's soccer fans can support. To me, that's where these clubs are trying to make their mark.
Yeah, and it's a specialization of the sport as well, and dedicating it and treating it as the professional sport that it is. And you know, you saw the level of physicality that it takes, and even be out there, and the fact that it's being put on this stage is really awesome, especially given the opportunities to play in a front wave arena, right? Like again, it's a premier venue, and it has and will hold much more indoor soccer of the highest caliber to be had. But that's what happened in the outdoor game as well, right? I mean, Shannon McMillan, legend here in San Diego, U.S. Women's National Team 99er for the San Diego Spirit, right? Like there wasn't a big name of
Absolutely.
a team that came on up. And so this is that next level of saying, hey, let's go ahead and use our platform, use the banner of the San Diego Sockers, and go ahead and elevate this into a different level. Because yeah, again, looking at some of the games and live footage from Detroit City, who was part of the NISA League against 1904. So you know, you do have some professional institutions, but as it kind of becomes more specialized, it's gonna really just raise the level overall. And I think it's a good move for MASL, along with, you know, getting the league down to eight teams. I think this direction is also going to help not just the league on the men's side, but just the MASL in general.
Well, despite our on-air requests to Eddie Trujillo that he put together a highlight reel.
I get it.
I mean, I'm not sure that he watched back the replay. I'm just saying because it didn't happen. But the entire match, which was played as 4 12-minute running quarters with a nothing halftime. I mean, the whole thing was about an hour start to finish. But that's all available for you on the MASL TV channel. If you just search Soccer's W, you'll find it straight away. It'll be your top search result on YouTube. And in the first half, Empire Strikers W did get a goal. They could have had 3 or 4. And Gabby Cordero just impressed. I mean, when you see a goalkeeper who might be 5 foot tall and, you know, is already a coach of youth players, but she's clearly still got it. She's got that athleticism. She's got that burst. And holy cow, Tony, she was truly the star of the match in the first half.
I mean, really, it just, her level of confidence was elevating as the minutes kept going, and just shot after shot after shot. You can see her being more comfortable around her box. You can see her being more physical, coming out, being brave, and stopping some really incredible shots that on the other side, I'd be impressed if either Boris or Chris Toth did them. But not just that, but being a leader, as some of these players are barely meeting each other. She was a leader in the back line defensively, and, you know, just being everywhere at all times. That's all you can ask for a goalkeeper is just be as comfortable as a fish in water. And that's one of the players that I can see just being the most comfortable on the floor.
1-0 at the half. We're now showing some of those Gabby Cordero highlights, and especially in the first half where she really was put to the test over and over and came through over and over again. 1-0 at halftime. They have, like I said, I mean, was it a 5-minute halftime? Maybe it was like 3.5 minute halftime. It was, they didn't leave the field. They just went to the benches and talked to the coaches. And all of a sudden, San Diego Soccer's W comes out and starts lighting things up. Some second half highlights. And here's where the first goal in Soccer's W history took place. Top of the arc, Ashley Utria leads it off to Grace Tao, and Tao smacks it. Lovely finish right over the hand of the goalkeeper Garrido, who works at Snapdragon Stadium. Then a Wallace Scora from Ashley Funk to Utria, who puts it home for the first ever lead for San Diego Soccer's W. And it is 2-1. Things keep rolling. There's another quality save by Gabby Cordero going up to the top of her goal net to bring that one down. Good work on the other side as well. Both teams, I thought, really did show well. Here was the second set piece for San Diego, and there's our guest upcoming. Ashley Nick knows just where to be, called for the ball, and put it home. We'll see Christian Briggs do this for St. Louis later in the men's game. And then Boama comes in, shot, save, rebound scored by Abby Dillon. On a roll. Soccer's W. This is pure classic. That's why you got to get the rebound. That's what, any spillage can lead to a second chance opportunity. Soccer's W rolling. More saves from Gabby. That's probably her most athletic in terms of side to side. And then Grace Tao. There's the finish. It started with a steal at midfield, a spin move to work around two Empire W players. Comes in on the left wing. Craziest thing, if you watch that highlight over and over, she shoots. She loses her shin guard on the shot. The defender simultaneously loses her shin guard on the shot. And you have a ball and two shin guards. Here we go to see this. It's the steal at midfield. It's the spinorama, right? Two players, beats two players. And then number 4 and number 14, both picking up their shin guards at the end of the play. Just absolute gold right there. And I don't just mean the color of Grace Tao's shin guards, which literally were gold.
I mean, it was an incredible run and really just top to bottom, just clinical. Like, that's just a great goal. That spin move in the middle of the floor was incredible. And hey, yeah, I mean, that's what happens, just it's a powerful shot, and it's what it took. And maybe got loose a little bit in that contact originally, but some good classic indoor plays, indoor maneuvers, indoor strategies being applied. I love the set piece goals by Soccer's. Again, we'll have to, is it Soccer's W, therefore Soccer's M? We'll just continue.
Soccer's I mean, I feel like it's only fair.
Right? It has to. But I mean, good defending on the other side as well. And you start seeing some of the coaching that isn't so natural to just the regular soccer player. You just have to really put some thought into it when it comes to the philosophy of how to play like a soccer. And you can see those moments and building blocks being put in. And obviously the individual talent of each of these players really shown through as well. But I like what I see. And it was really fun. Like that's where, shame on me for ever thinking anything else. But like, I really enjoyed my time watching this game as a independent. Like, I love watching any sorts of soccer, but this was really good quality, and San Diego gets the W. So there you go.
Hey, women's soccer, women's sports have come so far in this country in the last 12, 15 years. And in the city of San Diego over the last 5 years, quantum leaps. With San Diego Wave FC, this is now a mature women's soccer market. You've got a base group of 14, 15,000 fans, right, that show up to every San Diego Wave game, up to 28, 30,000 when you get into the big games, playoffs, Alex Morgan retirement games, et cetera, et cetera. You've got San Diego Mojo in their third season, playing professional women's volleyball down at Viejas Arena, and part of an extremely professional organization, which I'm not going to mangle because they changed the league's initials last year. So I figured if it's the Pro Volleyball Federation or if it's something like that, but it's truly the best, like some of the best talent in the world in professional women's volleyball, just like NWSL is unquestionably some of the best talent in the world in professional women's outdoor soccer. But there's still a huge untapped resource market. Look at all of these incredibly talented players that don't really have a place to play, that can treat them like pros, give them this experience, give them a crowd and an arena and an opportunity, a chance to be part of something that's more than, yeah, we play Saturdays at 8 a.m. and at 11, depending on how, if there's a men's tournament that day, and I'm not trying to speak derisively. I'm trying to speak truly about like the hurdles that a second tier women's outdoor league currently faces. You don't really have a shining opportunity to succeed if you're not an NWSL player and you're not overseas somewhere else. So the idea that if Sockers can do it, if Strikers could do it, could Certified Lions, when they come in, have a professional women's team? Could Tacoma have a women's? Why not Milwaukee? Why not Kansas City? These are strong. Why not Baltimore? These are strong franchises. Why not Utica? Sacramento, when they come in with two teams. Come in with a men's team and a women's team. Take it seriously. Recruit. Find top-level talent. Pay it. Get yourself to this level, because people will come. People will come, Ray. If you build it, they will come. But I believe that, Tony. The Wave fans didn't come to this match because the Sockers understandably soft launched this affair. Things were coming together, 2 weeks before, a week before, a few days before. So, we didn't run out to television. We didn't do 20 promotional appearances like we would if it's a real team in the league playing a regular season that we're selling tickets to, which is my hope and my dream for this come the fall. But we still saw a good crowd. A lot of the Sockers fans came in early to check it out. The crowd was well over 1,000 by the end of the match. And it was just really great to see the possibility of what could be.
And I mean, I'm always in terms of soccer, love to save the sanctity of it, save the, at the end of the day, it's about the kids right there. Like that moment working in education is knowing the fact that for San Diego Wave, those little girls know the back of the baseball card information better than the boys do for San Diego FC at least in the Western, Eastern Chula Vista community that I interact with on a daily basis. And this is another outlet for that. And, cynically, I also have to admit that it's a business. But even with it being a business, if you're going to see it completely as that, guess what? There's still money to be made in a holistic way. There's still money and ways to make some profit out of this. Unfortunately, this is where we exist at this point in sports in general. But you utilize that, recycle some of it, invest in it, invest in the people, invest in something that some people want to see. Because I can remember there were several playoff games at Front Wave Arena that would have loved to have had half of the crowd that was there for the Sockers W. And that's a playoff match last season.
No, you're absolutely right. So, incredible afternoon for those who were there. Absolutely memorable. And hopefully the start of big things to come. And we will talk to the captain of the club, Ashley Nick, coming up shortly. Let's continue chronologically through our recap, because it wasn't but like an hour and 15 minutes later that the Sockers and the St. Louis Ambush took that same floor in a match of immense proportion. The Sockers knowing coming into the match that if they win it, they will be alone in first place. St. Louis having played the day before, but St. Louis comes out strong. And right away you see on this play, Ozzy Santana along the boards. Pee Wee Ortega goes for the pin. There's no defensive backup support. Pollo actually wound up, they gave him an assist on that. And at first I was like, that's impossible. But then when you watch that play back, I think he did send it to Santana, and Santana never actually lost possession. Watch at the very beginning of this clip. Here he goes. He gets across. He sends it. That's Santana. Yeah. He never lost the ball. Yeah, that is an assist for Pollo. So 1-0 St. Louis. And again, for Pee Wee, just a 1v1, situation. But you got to have some help behind you, and it wasn't there.
Yeah, and I mean, another goal that's, unfortunately, there is a consistent aspect of the Sockers, and it's like they keep getting scored in similar ways. And regardless of personnel out there, is some of the things that need to be tightened up going into playoffs for sure.
Cesar Cerda drives the corner. Cesar Cerda, absolute star of this match. When you watch back I watched back the full match on Sunday evening. It became even far more apparent how he was the absolute star of this match. And he drives down into the corner and a simple corner wall score here for 1-1. And Nick Pereira just being huge and understanding where to be.
Yeah, instead of them moving forward, again, we've seen him kind of come back into this comfortability level with moving forward and knowing that he has to put his head down and track back because, he is also a defensive leader and he needs to make sure to put that hustle in there as well. But yeah, the ambush came in physical as can be as too.
Oh, and there's the dark arts, 1,000,000%. Because Pee Wee Ortega fakes a foul. Jeff Locker simply makes a coaching error by not challenging that play. It was literally right in front of his bench. And the Sockers, you would think, would take advantage and take a 2-1 lead. They do not. In fact, here comes St. Louis the other way on a near breakaway for Jeff Machad that Chris Toth is able to parry. Both teams actually failed on a power play in the first quarter because San Diego made a bad change and got caught with too many men on the floor. And as you said at multiple points in the broadcast, because as I watched it back Sunday, it's the details. It's the details that can be the difference between a championship and not. And San Diego was greatly lacking on the details for the most part on Sunday evening.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lack of focus in some very fundamental areas where, again, you just don't think about those things of soccer's and, having too many men on the field, making sure that they're tracking their man on inside the box in important spaces. And they were, for the most part, able to get it cleaned up thanks to Chris Toth and some interventions in the back. But better teams are just going to be lethal and they're not going to forgive.
That absolutely is a goal, like 8.5 out of 10 times. Incredibly unlucky on that particular shot. Almost unlucky that it didn't hit Pato in the head, to be honest, which also would have driven the ball into the net. So it's still 1-1 going into the second quarter. In that second quarter, more aggressive play from Chris Toth. He is so decisive. Stefan Mijatovic almost kills a dude, putting his laces through this shot. Riley Uri right off the rip. He had to get a bruise from that play. Header on. Chris right there. Back and forth action. If you just pause it for a second, I think we're going to see it in this highlight run. In the moment, I was really frustrated by this quarter. Like watching it live, I was extremely frustrated by this quarter. When I rewatched it, I felt like Sockers were pretty unlucky in this quarter. That they had a lot of chances, a lot of potential quality. Poyo made some great saves. The soccer gods betrayed them a little bit. So I might have been a little too tough on them at 3-1 down. Not necessarily, because what I said was true, which is that the Sockers have used every excuse in the book this year. And I mean, they've been pretty legitimate, but they have used every single one in the book. But this was a pretty unlucky quarter. Let's take a look right here. Here's Nicky on a breakaway, right? Good, unselfish play, brings in Nick. Poyo makes a save. Okay. But you're playing great if you're getting these chances. Sidewall pass, sets up Nilton. Nilton with a good rip. Nice save again. Poyo's doing his job. He's doing his thing. Daniel Torrealba was shut out. Here's his best chance.
Yeah.
And he misses wide. That's literally the most room he got the entire night. Torrealba, essentially a non-factor, taken out of the game by Cerda. Unfortunately, here's a well-defended play until, Nick's lumbering in. He's tracking back. He's trying to do what he can, and the ball hits off of him, and it's an own goal, and it's 2-1. And it's the second straight match with an own goal against for San Diego at home.
And I think that's why I also am so hard on those details too, because it's sometimes these goals that go in that, there's just happenstance. It's just a happy accident for the opponent and there's nothing for you to do. You have to be able to respond on the other side. So when the ball keeps going and going into the box, into the middle, but nobody's there to get the final touch, it's those things that later on, if you get a good team that can score, not just out of pure misfortune from your own defense, you still have to be able to go onto the other side and take control of that offensively and make those goals, not just create chances. And that's for me too, the frustrating part, that the ball just didn't want to go in, but then it almost seemed like whenever they wanted to, they could turn it around, and eventually that's what we'll see after the 3-1. But it was a very suffered, just middle of the match.
And what you just saw there were back-to-back set pieces. The first one was conceded by a defensive error. Then on the top of the arc, you get a save, but they ruled that Mijatovic touched it with his hand, which the replay proved. So you get this second restart. And, Christian Briggs is sitting unmarked on the back post. Chris can't grab every ball in the world. It's 3-1 St. Louis. Early third quarter sort of takes a power play, takes a penalty out of necessity to deny a chance at 4-1. The thing that was key to note here, I mean, we've seen a lot of these missed chances. Obviously, in a highlight reel, you don't see all the times in between. The Sockers looked like an extremely disconnected team offensively, pretty much throughout this match. So you knew that getting 3 goals down was going to be a problem. Incredible save by Chris once again. Keeps it 3-1. Sockers defend the power play, go 2 for 2 on the PK. There's Nilton, pawed off by Cortez. Great shot, better save. Still 3-1. Amati, who was a nice addition for St. Louis, getting past his old teammate, putting it right to the middle. And Falsone, busy forward, guy gets into good scoring places. He was there to just kind of muscle the ball in. Very little to be done. And when you see there's no distance between him and Chris, it's like 3 inches in between these two guys. When the shot comes in, there it is, 4-1. Uh-oh. Can the Sockers get it back? Morales gets blocked, gets it back down. Oh, right then, I think, I'm not going to lie. Right then, I think to myself, how are we going to win this game? Because then Chris goes out, has to come racing back in. Some Brian Orozco coast play right there. Really well done. Leave it to Serta. Drive in, step off, wall pass. Morgan jams it, short corner. Sockers get one back. They don't go into the fourth down by 3. They do go into the fourth down by 2, 4-2, where you and I know it, as well as the rest of the soccer world, the next goal is going to be the one that's going to really tell the story, right?
Yeah, and data would suggest that in this year specifically, it's very difficult for the Sockers to muster a comeback of such proportion in terms of, you still have a quarter and a half to go, but 4-1 down, I haven't seen it from the Sockers being able to turn it around. And especially after you saw the last 2 performances at home against Baltimore and Kansas City, where you're just kind of like, it's just not going to happen. They just want it more, and they were going and being physical and taking it to the Sockers. And I didn't see what the outlet was going to be for creativity for the Sockers.
Well, I'll tell you what, that last highlight right before the missed shot on the other side, I said on the broadcast at the time, make a note of this if the Sockers come back, because it was a wide open shot for Falsone to get a third goal and to get 5-2 13 seconds into the half. And he missed a half open net. Cortez playing so crazy that, like, how are you going to beat this guy? He's going to take himself out. Spoiler alert, but that's coming up shortly. Or did Tavoy take him out? MASL under review. Get to it, guys. There's Reyes denied. It's been a tough go for the rookies of late. Continuing early fourth quarter, Colin O'Keefe was really good on counterattacks. Brings in Torrey Alba, another big save by Chris Toth. Back the other way. This is 2v1. This is Nilton and Nick. This is Nilton with 3 guys and a goalkeeper around him and a wide open Nick Pereira. Nilton calls his own number. Pause it for a second. Let me tell you. Yeah, we can even watch that again. Watch this again. Okay, at this moment now, what's the play?
Just a simple layoff to Nick and a Nicky tap in for a 4-3. That's what the book says. You have to do.
It's one defender, two defender, three defenders, and the keeper. Pereira, nobody. Only thing you can do is pass that ball. If Williamson blocks the pass, Williamson blocks the pass. But the only thing you can do is pass that ball. Now, what you don't see in this highlight reel is what happened immediately after that, which is Nick Pereira goes to the bench, picks up a water bottle, slams it against the back wall, and gets right into Nilton. What the hell's going on? And that's a message that goes right through the entire bench. What are we doing here? Paraphrasing politely.
Hey, gang.
What's the goal here? For us to win or for you to score? We all win when any one of us scores. We've got to be better. As Tony Sanchez, the great Tony Sanchez said, it's the details that are going to be the difference between a team winning a championship and not winning a championship. Plenty of good MASL teams this year are not going to win the championship. One team will. That team will have done the details the best in the playoffs. 1,000,000,000%. How can it be San Diego with the film we've been watching the last month? It can't. They've got to improve. So now, knowing that there was just a boom on the bench with 11 minutes left, let's continue to watch the reel. The fallout of that play. Now, 10:21, 30 seconds later. Goal. Who sets the pass? Nick Pereira. That's saying it and then doing it. He could have called his own number on the corner kick. He makes the perfect play, and it's 4-3.
Leadership by action, and that's what Nick Pereira has been doing the best this season, leading some rookies, leading some veterans, but leading the team essentially with his play. And that's going to be how the Sockers are going to find success, and not just finding it through Nick Pereira, but channeling that wisdom of, yes, it's all of us, not just one of us. And it's the crest over, it's the name on the front over the name in the back for sure. And it's going to take everything. And then you're seeing Chris do his best in the back. And how are you not inspired by that performance in the back as well?
The way that he has commanded the crease over the course of the last month just reinforces why he's at the top of this sport. In terms of being the best goalkeeper. And this was a second straight week where there was a question of a handball, a question of an opportunity for a penalty and a shootout. And this one goes San Diego's way. And I don't think he touched the ball, but I think there's at least a teeny percentage chance that a tick of his glove touched it right there. But I don't think so. And it also bears notice in that highlight reel that the guy who got back and at least moved the runner enough to force the pass that allowed Chris to be a part of the play was Cesar Cerda.
Yes. Yeah. No, he was everywhere. And that's what you need of that defensive captain. Again, leadership by action. And these players, these veterans are getting the message. And it's just a matter of putting things together. And if the Sockers can put those things together, you'll see 4 quarters of what you saw in the last 5 to 7 minutes of San Diego Soccer's play against the ambush. That's what you want to see. Everybody all out to avoid taking smart fouls, not just going down for the sake of going down, and creating something as well.
And a great save by Pollo on that one. What are you going to do? Guy was on fire. Top of the arc. Another chance. Post to post, the man with the most, Pollo Cortez. I mean, he's doing it all at this point in the game. Look at this. Every turnover is a counterattack with St. Louis. And there's Chris all the way out almost to the yellow line to intervene. But St. Louis gets it back right in front. Point blank kick save, wrong footed. It's not a 2-goal game. Oh, look, we're on our good spot. They forgot to figure out this play yet. Pereira to Ruggles hiding on the weak side. It works for a second time, but What happened with Tavoy Morgan and Pollo Cortez before the ball is struck? Here's where the controversy and the game changes on this play. There goes Pollo down. Why did Pollo go down? Was he tripped by Tavoy? Did he, as he tried to sell, take an elbow from Tavoy that should have been a carded foul? Let's watch it one more time. Did he? Did an elbow poke out at the back there? Or did he get his just legs tangled up with Morgan, which is an occupational hazard? Well, Pollo thought elbow. See that? Elbow. And he's not going to give it up. And he's supposed to be at his bench or in his net. And the official says, Pollo, go now. Pollo does not go. And Pollo is gone. Yellow card, which takes him out for the final 5 minutes, 14 seconds of the fourth quarter. But the thing is, the true leader of the St. Louis ambush is Paulo Nascimento, their 40-year-old goalkeeper. Paulo comes in. And as such, when this game does eventually go to overtime, Paulo stays in. Pollo was playing out of his gourd. Was that an elbow? Was it a trip?
I don't think so, only because in the art of goalkeeping, if you do have any contact on you in the box, you essentially have to become the ultimate, I got shot, I'm not going to be involved in this play. Follow his movement. He tracks this ball perfectly and even still tries to save it by raising his left foot. He's in this play. He's just trying to find an excuse to have Tavoy called for something when there's clearly nothing there. We come to see the shot. You see that left foot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just get it. I mean, that would have been a hell of a kick save.
Yes. But there was full intention. He was in that play. He was just looking for something, and he didn't get it. And he got himself out of the game where he was playing phenomenally and was answering everything that the Sockers were throwing at him.
Game not even close to being over. St. Louis felt dangerous all 65 minutes of this contest. Here's a rarity. Ben Raymond with an outdoors game worth of time to measure a shot. Do I want to? Oh, yeah, I do. Great save, though. Paulo makes the save. I think that one would have been post and in or post and out. Pereira layoff for Nilton. See, they can still play nice. Nilton. Steph in the corner. Finds really great play. Good try. Pato down there, and Paulo steps over and does his part. Minute and a half. I'm freaking out at this moment because I'm remembering Baltimore and a very late goal conceded and 3 points disappearing just like that. There in the last minute, a leaping save needed by Chris Toth. But the game does go to overtime, and very, very early in overtime, a chance for St. Louis to win it right off the top. We're about to see it. Oops, off the seam. Uh-oh.
Chris
Toth comes through again. That ball hits the seam between the glass and boards, and so it shoots to the middle instead of dropping into the corner. And it winds up being a point-blank chance, and the save made. 5.5 now in overtime. Ball goes over the wall. We're going to get a restart. Restarts in the second half involving Drew Ruggles and back post actions. Very good. But this time Ruggles will send it right to the back post. What a pass. Was that luck or design or intent? We'll figure it out. Doesn't matter. Tavoy Morgan's there on the back post to drive it in, sliding block of the ball into the net, essentially, tackle of the ball into the net. And the Sockers escape with 2 points from this match, 5-4.
I mean, I really love this goal. I've nominated for our Two Balls and a Mic show goal of the week because the way that it comes together, it starts and involves 3 people. Pacheco, Ruggles, Tavoy. Starting from earning this balón parado by fighting for the ball physically, great. You get yourself a chance. Set piece. From here, Drew Ruggles says, hey, I need you to bomb it all the way to where I'm going to go ahead and feign a pass, but I'm going to go ahead and hit it directly to try to get some chaos in the box. Your run, and this again, just assuming because he just says yes and just does his run, Pacheco does, to pull the mark and open up some space here in the middle. Yes.
There you go there.
Boom.
Wow. Well designed, well executed, well done, and so needed for the San Diego Sockers. It was all on the line right there. Certainly when they were down 4-2 in the fourth quarter. It was all on the line in terms of their hopes, dreams, aspirations. They've already made the playoffs, but to be in any type of advantageous position and not be on the road or not have home field for any round, to have to play in the first round, all of that was on the line when they were down 4-2 and Milton looks off Nick and shoots 4v1. And from that point forward, the Sockers came together. Is that a temporary coming together, or is that the start of a stitched together team that unites all the way through a long playoff run? To be determined. And Friday and Sunday are still to be played. So, so much more in the soccer story to be written, and so much more drama. We'll detail it on the other end of what is now our interview portion of this episode of Soccer's Overtime. Let's get into it. We've got both of our captains lined up back to back. Let's welcome in and welcome to the program for the first time, the first ever captain of Soccer's W, Ashley Nick, joins us on the show. Ashley.
Hi, Hi, Craig. Hi, Tony. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so great to have you here. We really appreciate it. We talked about the show. This isn't airing live right now. It's airing on Wednesday, so you didn't get to see this part, but we just talked about the game earlier and went through some of the highlights of the match as well. It was such a special day for this organization, for Empire. What was it like for yourself?
Oh, it was, I mean, I first want to say, like, thank you for having me on the show. And then it was just an honor, exciting, so much gratitude. I can speak on behalf of the team that we just feel so grateful, not just for the opportunity to get a chance to play. That's always a blessing, but the opportunity to help grow the women's game. And then add on top of that, we get to go put the Soccer's crest on, which has a legacy of excellence and 16 championships. We know what's expected of us, and the standard has been set and what we're going to be held accountable for. And so we don't take that lightly. And we just really felt like it was an honor to get to suit up in the Soccer crest and get to go amongst a great crowd that showed up for us. And it just was a huge day for not just the organization, but women's sports and sports as a whole.
That fires me up. I love that take that you have. But how did you hear about Soccer's W, and what made you want to try out?
Yeah, I actually love the Soccers and have been watching the Soccers for a long time. And when this opportunity came about, it's too big to pass up. And so I was like, okay, I've been watching a lot from the stands, but then you get back down on the field and it's a whole different point of view. It's a whole different thing. I remember thinking sometimes like, oh man, like that's an option. Why didn't they see that? And then you're down there and you're like, oh yeah, this isn't quite as easy as it may have seemed. It's a whole different game. And a lot of us, we've been playing indoor in different versions, maybe like small-sided futsal or something like that, but it's a whole different game to learn all over again, almost like a whole different sport. And we have our technical ability and tactical awareness from 11v11 or whatever version we've been playing, but a lot more attention to details as far as marking, and you fall asleep for a second and you'll be punished. So we already had a training this morning and we're kind of dissecting the game and thinking, okay, we need to tighten up some things, but we're just so excited and encouraged. It's a great group of girls. The coaching staff is great and really helpful and patient with us, and we're really excited for where we can take this.
This beautiful game of soccer has taken you around the world. It's offered you the opportunity to make money playing it as a professional and to bring you back to the United States to play at the highest level at NWSL. And now to have an opportunity to help be a landmark player for maybe a landmark team that's trying to do something and bring MASLW up into that professional echelon where it could play side by side with what we're now going to call MASLM. I mean, look, if we're going to start gendering this stuff, I mean,
Mhm.
Soccer's M has done pretty well, but Soccer's W is here to make some noise. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that career that you've been able to have throughout your life, how did that inform this moment?
I think I feel like so blessed and grateful that soccer has been such a platform for me to get to see the world and meet so many great people and this right here, right? So it's just I think what I'd say to anyone listening who's a younger player is it's a testament that when you have a passion, go all in. And that's what I always did with my game. And so I always loved the game. And I just thought, let's push this and see how great I can be. And tried to be the best teammate I could be. And it just opened a lot of doors, which eventually has led me to here. I've been a part of a lot of the pioneering stages of the women's game, I think, like early NWSL days, and it's so great to see what has that's turned into, and the amount of like they've just had the highest contract with the player coming to San Diego Wave, which is huge. And so that's my hope for this eventually. We're gonna start this and see how far we can take it, and I believe it'll go far.
And I mean, there's a lot of talent here in San Diego, and I mean, out there in the tryouts. What could you tell me about what you saw from some of your teammates? Obviously, if in your playing you saw Cordero, you saw Tao, you saw them all out there. What were your impressions of your fellow teammates?
Oh yeah, they rocked it. I mean, Gabby in the goal was a lifesaver. She came up with some huge saves. She's excellent with her feet, excellent with her hands, communicating back there. So she was a solid person from the back to get us organized. And yeah, Grace came up big, which was really cute because I saw a picture she had posted on her Instagram with Farber when she was just a little tyke. And then also, I think it was with Hughes. She was at a soccer's game. So I thought it was appropriate that she scored the first goal because it was kind of written in the stars. So I know it means a lot to her as well because she's been a fan and a supporter for since she was little. And so, like I said earlier, I don't think that any of us take this opportunity lightly. We're all just we understand the opportunity at hand and how honored we are to have this. And but yeah, everyone showed up big in every way. Even we have a really strong pool of players, so we saw the rostered players for this past game, but I want to give a shout out to the entire pool of players that we have here because everyone came up big. I mean, even before the game, somebody had cleats and needed turfs, and one of the girls gave up her turfs for the cleat, and so for the cleats so the other girl could play because she wasn't rostered. And it just already in a very short space of time has a really good feeling. And they put together a really good group of not just players but people, which is what will end up winning championships.
You mentioned the coaching staff, and obviously these are guys that have been around a long time in terms of Paul Wright and Farbs and Eddie. We were kind of joking because Soccer's M has had their struggles coming out of the halftime locker room of late. Been a little bit on the back foot in those third quarters. Like, what are you guys doing right over here at
Mm.
Soccer's W? Because you turned 0-1 into 5-1 just like that. What happened in that very short 3 minutes, maybe, that you had in
Yes.
between?
I think that we started off, we had a few chances, off the wall here, kind of a miss hit there, and then we got scored on, and it kind of just rattled us a bit, a little bit of, oh, let's clear it, and they just were like, hey, let's just settle it. Let's go back to the bases and calm down and keep possession of the ball, and we'll build it back up and it'll come. They were very calm the whole time, and you could feel that they believed in us. They never had a moment where it felt like they're like, hey, girls, you better win. It was like, hey, we got this. We just need to remember what we can do. And I think also like soccer's W is like a soccer's win at the end. So that's a good vibe already. But they were really positive the whole time and said like at the beginning, we know you guys are learning new things. So please ask questions the whole time. And obviously they used all their expertise to give us the tactical pointers that we needed to turn the game around.
And as the game kept going, that crowd kept growing and growing. What could you tell me how that felt, having the crowd, a genuine home field advantage in that moment? And as the goals kept going, just getting louder and the energy was buzzing there at Front Wave.
Yeah, I think they brought like the six attacker energy with their cheering and everything around. It felt really awesome. I mean, I thought a lot of people showed up, and I thought that's a huge sign for what's to come. And even after the game going around and seeing everyone, people were like, where can we get a jersey? That was awesome. And when's the next game? So it created the buzz that we wanted. But yeah, they definitely showed up for us because once we scored and we heard the cheer, we're like, let's do a few more of those. And they helped us get there.
Well, this club in this moment has one more match, which is this Sunday, going up to
Yes.
Toyota Arena and taking on Strikers W again, but doing it now. You've had the opportunity to play in a regulation-sized floor in a proper, D1 arena, so to speak, and now you're going to get your first opportunity to do it as a road game and to have that team go out with the crowd against you and have the team go out with an opposite logo on the floor, and an entire environment built for the other team to win. How excited are you guys to take home the SoCal Women's Cup?
Yes, we're very excited. I know a lot of people are going to recruit people to come so we can try to bring some of our fans over there already. But yeah, we're so hyped. We literally after the last game, we were like, can we have training tomorrow? Like, how can we fix this? Like, let's watch the film. So we immediately just fell in love with the game and we just continue to help grow. But yeah, we're very serious about bringing home the cup.
I love it. Well, listen, believe me, we are completely behind this. We want to see this succeed and thrive. I've been the PA announcer at Wave for the last 5 years. I've seen what professional women's soccer has done and what it's become. And now that no matter what, tomorrow, Wednesday, there's going to be, 5-digit crowd there at Snapdragon Stadium to cheer
Awesome.
on our Wave. So I'm really excited to see how this organization can be born and can turn into something that's real and consistent. All our hopes are with this. Obviously,
Yes.
Kraig, Tony and I, we're going to be in the booth at Front Wave because, the boys have to play at 3:00, but we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching and we're going to be talking about it on next week's show as well. So best of luck, Ashley. And thank you so much for coming on and helping spread the word to our fans.
Yes, my pleasure. And a quick shout out to Chiles for his last game, legend of the game. So congratulations.
He's coming on right after. He's probably in the waiting room right now and just heard you. So
I mean, you could tell him if you want. Kraig, you want me to?
Yeah, pop Kraig up here. Let's have both captains. I mean, we need some more leadership on this team.
Ashley.
There we go.
Hi, Kraig.
There we go. We got both.
Thank you. I was telling everyone, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I might not make it to my last game. I might go up and catch the women's game up in Ontario. Paul was like, "Hey, I tried to move the game a couple times so I could make your last game," and I'm like, "Paul, man, I might just come up there and watch the show." It's been fantastic watching, and all the the first team guys were super excited to watch the game and support the girls, and the ladies did a fantastic job out there. So it was a great step in the right direction, I think, for the whole organization.
Yes. Well, thank you for your support and congratulations on a great career.
Thank you.
Right.
Ashley, Nick,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
You bet. And as said, from one captain to another, from Soccer's W to Soccer's M, here we go with KC. Gregor, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just wrapping up my session with my youth players and kind of hanging on the field, but enjoying it.
Well, what's the deal with the knee? It sounds like it's going to keep you out, obviously, on Sunday. Is that it?
Yeah, but honestly, it's hard to say what had happened the first couple times, which I think started at a home game, and then I had a little setback in Ontario and a little setback in Tacoma. It all to me seemed, kind of minuscule and something that cost me a couple days, but I was kind of able to bounce back. And whatever happened in that last game is a little bit more significant and has cost me a little bit more time. Just as a realist, I find it hard to think about myself kind of getting back on the field right now. I know I'm struggling to walk, and competing in a high circumstance game like we've got coming up probably just isn't in the cards right now. I'm not going to say that there's no chance I'll play down the road, but it looks it doesn't look great.
That's tough, man. But I mean, Sunday is a celebration of your illustrious career. I mean, with all this happening, what's going on with your headspace with obviously this decision you had made prior to the season and just kind of going into this weekend with everything that's going on?
Yeah, when you look at it right now, I'm sure it's a bummer. I'm sure there's family members kind of disappointed. I've got people traveling in and some college buddies that would love to see me play again. But when it's all said and done, I've had a fantastic career. I played hundreds of games, and it just wasn't written in the cards. And so, I'm not super sentimental. I'm not like mad about the situation. I wish it could have been better. Obviously, hoisting the cup and riding off into the sunset after playing would have been, the ideal scenario, and that's not in the cards. And so I've just adjusted. I've got to support the boys. I've got to help maybe coach some power play and free kick scenarios. I've got to kind of take up some cheerleading opportunities and make sure the guys are in the best position possible to help hoist the championship. And obviously I'll be a part of that, and I'd love to go out that way. And right now, the I'm going to be more influential, I think, in the locker room and on the bench than I will be on the field, unfortunately.
Well, it's a great perspective, and it's the perspective of a guy who has spent a lot of his adult life as a coach. You've had that ability to be a leader as a captain, but also to be a leader of a program with what was Cardiff Soccer's, now San Diego Soccer's youth. And as such, we're going to start shooting some coaching and coachy questions at you about this Soccer's team, because this is where you can make an impact, is helping this team tighten up the details. Tony and I just went through the last game film. That game really didn't sit right with me. I went right home and watched it. When I got home on Sunday, I did a similar thing with the Baltimore game as well. That game didn't sit right with me. This game tape went a lot better on second watch than the Baltimore tape did. I will tell you that. But yep. Nonetheless, the Sockers are kind of playing on the edge right now. They're missing a lot of the fine details. There's little things that the other teams are doing from a work ethic standpoint, from a hustle standpoint, and from a management of detail standpoint that is putting you guys backs against the wall, and has led to this point where now you have to try and win out this crazy weekend to get to first place in the league. What are you seeing from your perspective?
Yeah, but honestly, talent-wise, we're there. Individual ability and player to player across the league, we're right there with every team, if not one of the top teams. And you're right. It's really about putting together the little details in those critical moments. And we've done it successfully for small spells, and then we've kind of fallen off the mark in big lapses in these games. And so the way I look at it is, when you get into the playoffs, it's a little bit less about the X's and the O's and the little, kind of the tiny positional details. And it's really about winning your duels, winning the 50-50s, at effort, maximum tenaciousness, aggressiveness. And I think if you look at our roster, we lack a little bit of bite. We lack a little bit of that, gritty, tenacious, hardworking defender that are really difficult to get by. And we have some fantastic defensive players and we have some fantastic attacking players. But when it's all said and done, when we show up with the mentality that we're going to get ourselves into a fist fight, we end up doing really well. And when we show up and we think we're just going to knock it around and the other team's going to get out of our way, it's not working for us. And so we need to find that motivation within ourselves where we get pushed a little bit. I can tell you the last good game that I thought we really showed well was that Tacoma game. And it was the same game. Uzi ran around talking shit to me and Nick the entire game, and it kind of fueled everybody, and everybody got super fired up, and it led to this like dominant defensive performance and offensive performance. And so, we got to get the power play right. We got to get the free kicks right. Our substitution pattern, I think, needs to get improved a little bit in terms of getting each other on at the right moments and finding the best matchups for each other. But when it's all said and done, we just got to go out there and throw the first punch and get invested into physically getting after this other team and making it really, really tough. And I think once we engage physically, the talent kind of shows, the goals happen, the rest of the game falls for us. And so, as one of the leaders in the locker room, it's just a matter of making sure the boys are prepared for that battle every single night and putting their body on the line. And, we know it's not easy to physically engage when you're at 70% or you've got a bang or a bruise or something wrong with you too. And so, we got to balance that roster. We got to get some fresh players in there that have the legs and are ready to kind of get after it. And we're preparing to get our best roster back for these playoffs. And I think it'll give us a really good opportunity to make a run for it.
Well, I mean, this last weekend, Sockers really needed a big comeback and almost had to be that counter puncher against St. Louis, who went up early as well. So, what went right towards the end of that match? What switched in order to make sure that the Sockers were able to come back in the way that they did?
We kind of played our way into that game a little bit. In the first quarter, it was a little bit tense, and again, it was one what I would call individual mistake that opened the scoring for them. And then we kind of kept our heads in the game. We knew we had to turn around some of these second half performances, especially at home. And so it was a critical comeback for us and a critical win. It kind of gave us that confidence that we can do it. Not that we don't have it, but it kind of solidified, that we can be down at half and we can come out of the locker room. We can push the tempo to put our foot on the pedal and win the games. And the truth is maybe we need that underdog bite a little bit. When we went in that championship run in COVID in particular, we were the underdogs and we kind of relished that. We relished that defensive dig and the ability to transition and counter. And so, we just got to find that motivation that's pushing us to get out there and really leave it all on the line every single time we play. And it's not easy. It's not easy.
It's really interesting, the psychology of what you're discussing as well, because I think everything you just said is illustrated in the fact that we have seen the Soccer's most dynamic together performances this year.
Tony, can you hear Kraig?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I can hear him.
I cannot hear him. I can hear you.
Check.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, well, Tony, take it over then.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of going into that, it seems like, some of what we've seen so far in this season is that where last year the Sockers were impenetrable at front wave, now this season they're having some struggles at home. And more recently with those Baltimore and Kansas City matchups that, it just wasn't the same as it was last year. What's happening in there, or what's holding the Sockers back at home, do you think?
It's an older team, and a lot of these guys have families and jobs and other responsibilities. And sometimes being on the road is an easier lifestyle than being at home where you're, daddy daycare running from field to field and doing your other jobs. And so sometimes getting in the hotel room with Paul and having a nice meal and getting a good night's sleep is better for us on the road. I can also tell you, it's an adjustment in the field in these last 10 or 12 games at Front Wave with the new turf field. It's a little bit sticky and kind of bounces different, but obviously that's a factor for everyone else as well. And so it's something that we can't exactly put our thumb on what the issue is, but it's something we need to fix. We know if we're going to win the championship, we got to dominate our home games. And we've been preaching in our locker room that, we got to make it more of a dogfight at home. And if we're going to go down, we got to go down swinging. And having our back against the wall this weekend where we know we need 4 or 5 points to push us through in one of those bye rounds is hopefully that fuel to the fire that we need to get us those results.
Can you hear me now? No?
No, can't hear you, Kraig. Well, I hear Tony just fine. Oh, crap.
So there's my
I
question.
can't read it.
What have you thought about Milton so far?
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Nilton's been great. He's been a great addition to the team. He's tenacious. He's a box-to-box midfielder who has a good ability to shoot. And, we're just trying to get him to gel with us, maybe make that extra pass and kind of link up with the offense a little bit more. Right now, he's a little bit of a lone ranger, but at the same time, we need that dynamic ability from the midfield. We need somebody to get up there and counter and kind of call their own number every once in a while and put some balls in the back of the net. And so he's been a great addition, and looking forward to kind of finding exactly his best fit for the club as we push forward into playoffs.
Is this
Kraig?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me now?
Can you hear?
No.
Can Craigs hear each other? Here, let me do this. Boom, boom. What about now?
How about now?
No, I still can't hear Kraig. I hear you fine, Tony. I don't get it. I'm unmuted.
No, it happens here, but I mean, again, just incredible what you've been doing, and again, I just wanted to I know Kraig wanted to also know what is also the layers that you've been doing, helping coaching. You kind of detailed it a little bit with these Soccers and geez, that cheerleader role, but on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute, what's going to be your role moving forward here with the Soccers?
Well, for the end of the season, they've asked me to kind of help take over free kicks and power play. And that started as of last game. And we had 3 successful free kicks. It all seemed to be going right. Unfortunately, we weren't able to convert our 1 power play, although I thought there was a little bit of improvement. And, moving forward this weekend, we're going to have a power play unit that plays in Kansas City. We're going to have a free kick unit that plays in Kansas City. And then there will very likely be a couple adjustments with potentially, Leo and Charlie dropping into this lineup in the near future too. And so it's important that players on those lines understand that their job's in jeopardy if they're not performing well. And really, this is the playoffs. We need the best players in those available positions to perform. And it's not really about, managing people's feelings. It's about getting the job done at the end of the day. And so if I can help improve our power play and free kicks a little bit, and it gets us that extra 5 or 10% from here moving forward, then hopefully that's, enough to kind of get us over that line.
Oh, Kraig, I will thank you for your time. And on behalf of Kraig, es el corazón, he's sending you a little bit of a heart because, communication is.
And then the vibe.
Well, thank you once again. Thank you for your time. We'll let you get back to your regularly scheduling coaching, man.
It's getting dark out here. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the love, and I look forward to at least having a good night with all my friends, family, and all the fans at Front Wave, and supporting the boys in a critical game against Kansas City to end the season. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the next step, and I'm sure I'll be involved in this club as we move forward.
We know you will, brother. Take care. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
We know you will.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank you, Kraig. Thank you.
You bet. That was hilarious. Like, can I just write emojis down at least? How can I communicate? I could have started texting him the questions, but then it probably would have taken him out of the broadcast, right?
Soccer ball, like.
Oh my gosh. I know. How good am I at Pictionary? Can I draw it out real quick?
It was a really cool handoff moment too. At the top of that interview, captain to captain.
That was so great.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, heart is full. I'm so excited for Soccer's W. I'm so excited for what is potentially to come for this franchise. Hope I can be a part of it. That was really, really cool. And of course, Krager's going to be a part of this thing going forward too. There's come on. No question about it. I think as a point of fact, the power or the set pieces did get better. And while he talked about winning the duels, and he's really focusing on that mentality, and I think that is where the Soccers need to improve the most. Details matter too. They do.
Yeah.
The right schematic, the right strategy, doing things the right way. And he brought up a great point. The Soccers have been really bad on their line changes lately. Yes. Like slow to get off the bench, going to the wrong door. At one point, speaking of funny Nick Pereira bench stories, at one point in that game, the referee took position in front of his door.
Yeah.
And Nick came running toward us like, you're blocking me from going in. Get out of my way. What are you doing? It's like, man, we're bad enough at this. Don't make it harder on us. Come on. It's crazy. But yeah, great stuff from both captains. What an episode of Soccer's Overtime. So excited to be able to share it all with you. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty because Craig's done the math because he just said the right numbers. So let's do the math. It's easy now. It was hard with, a dozen results left or any number, 4 weeks of results left. You could only speculate. Now you can absolutely know what's probably going to happen and then what the Soccers have to do. So let's bring up the standings. And of course, I said a 4-way tie at the top. I was so excited on the broadcast. I think now it almost would have been a 4-way tie if St. Louis had won and got, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Point is, it's a 3-way tie. Baltimore, Milwaukee have 40 points each on 23 games. That's critical. And at regulation wins, Baltimore has 11. Regulation wins is the number one tiebreaker. Not wins, regulation wins. 11. Milwaukee 10, San Diego 10. So advantage Baltimore there. Kansas City and St. Louis are completely in it because both teams on 38 points have 2 games left. So they can get with 6 points to 44. 44 is the top line for St. Louis and for Kansas City. 43 is the top line for Baltimore and Milwaukee. They each have 1 game left. Now, what are those games? Milwaukee's going to host Utica, and Baltimore's going to host Tacoma. So, write it in. Write it in. They're going to win those games. So, you can look at the standings right now, and sure, a miracle could happen. Utica, which just lost 17-2 at Milwaukee, could this time, force it to overtime and steal a point away. Tacoma, which does have the Tayu brothers, but now has absolutely nothing to play for, having been eliminated, wouldn't be surprised one tiny bit if Tacoma sent Jamel Cox, Luis Pirueta, and the Spokane All-Stars, out to Baltimore. Sure, Tacoma could, but you can't think that way. That's not what's going to happen. Both those teams are going to win, but with a double-digit goals total and the other team having few to no goals. That's what's going to happen. So Baltimore's going to finish at 43, and Milwaukee's going to finish at 43. How about St. Louis? What does St. Louis have to do to get to 44 points? They don't play any of the other teams that matter. They will first play Utica to kick off Utica's, final road trip. This poor, ill-begotten team. Like, they just have not been good at all this year and terrible on the road. So St. Louis gets Utica on Friday. So they should win that game. And while St. Louis is not in a great run of form, they're now 1-3-1 in their last 5. They were playing good teams all the way through that, or tough circumstances like playing at Tacoma, and they get a win there. So, to me, I'm pretty sure this game, the last time it was played, you can correct me if I'm wrong, St. Louis fans, but I believe this was a 13-0 win for St. Louis with Paolo getting a shutout the last time it was played. So I'm writing this one in 2. Okay, let's go ahead and keep filling in the math equation. We're putting Baltimore at 43 and they're resting. We're putting Milwaukee at 43 and they're resting. St. Louis at 41 with 1 game to play. That game will be the last game of the MASL regular season. It will be St. Louis at Empire. Empire with simultaneously everything and nothing to play for. They are the 6th seed. They are not a part of the playoff equation other than they will face the number 3 team in the first round of the playoffs. They can't finish 5th. They can't finish 7th. So for Empire, on one level, you could say, well, they should get guys healthy. There's not a lot on the line. There's so much more to play for St. Louis. But this is MASL news segment. Empire fired Onua Obasi, reassigned him to a better role somewhere.
He was watching Empire W. He was there.
You know what would make your team better is if you take the goalkeeper out. Focus on possession. Well, Empire has looked like a much different, much better team since that last Obasi game. The last 2 times out on the road, they have won hard-fought games in tough places to play. And they've looked good doing it. And they are not moving the goalkeeper up. And that is giving their midfielders like Stinson and, guys like Powell and just the rest of their team freedom. Fabian, who had a huge game in the first game after Onua was done. Fabian probably did not like being told you have to go over here and go over there and go over here and go over there and go over here and go over there because we're going to hold the ball and the keeper's going to be out. So if we make one mistake, it's going to be a goal. Well, that's gone now. Orozco and Gomez can just be in the net. And Stinson can try and be the guy 1v1. And if it breaks down, they can just chase them down the floor because the keeper's going to be there. So I think Empire is just as dangerous as any of the other 5 teams you see on this list. Just as dangerous.
They're in form too. Like they are playing for a purpose, and it almost seems that the purpose is to prove that what they've been doing just hasn't been working, and they should have been doing this to begin with. And, even at the end of the day, they're still in playoffs, and I still, say it's a successful season, back-to-back playoffs appearances once again. But I think that's the chip on their shoulder. It's a self-imposed chip, but I don't think anybody in the league wants to necessarily be in front of that at this moment because they have something to prove, and it's internally.
So those are the first 3 points in our equation that I'm not willing to put up on the board and draw in. I don't know if Empire's going to beat St. Louis Sunday afternoon at 4, or if St. Louis is going to go in and get a huge win that could potentially put them into first place. Because if St. Louis wins, they get to 44. Which brings us... Oh, and it would bring them to 11 regulation wins, but Baltimore would have 12, but they'd be at 43. Okay, so just keep that in mind. They would be at 11 regulation wins. Okay, so now you get to the last 2 teams in the equation. Hey, guess what? They play each other. It's us. It's Kansas City. And, okay, play both sides. If the Sockers win twice, well, they're the only team they can get higher than 44 points. They can get to 46 or 45. If they win both games, and one of them at least is a regulation win, 45 or 46 points. We know if they do that, nothing else matters. No one can catch them. There's nothing else to look at. There's a absolute horse blinder, singular focus on these 2 games and nothing else. If you win them both. It's a big if.
If, yeah.
They haven't done it yet. They have not played one of these weekends. They've won the road game and then come home and gotten jobbed by Empire, by Tacoma, although they won that game, but still they got jobbed by Tacoma. They got knocked around by Tacoma for a long time. And of course, Kansas City absolutely took it to them. Not even close. That game was not even close at all. So That's the worry here, Tony, from a soccer standpoint, is that the path is as clear as day. But can they walk it? Because the Comets are on that path too. And they are standing in the way. And I don't know that Kansas City can beat San Diego twice this weekend. I don't know that they can't. Certainly, if they got a little bit luckier at home, San Diego's won twice in overtime. Certainly they could. But from Kansas City's standpoint, they need to win all 6 points to have a chance at a top 2 spot, because St. Louis could get to 44. They can get to 44. But if they stub toe once, 5 points for them is 43. Right? And that could be tied with these other guys and getting into the various head-to-heads and the various tiebreakers along the way. The Sockers lose the tiebreakers to Baltimore and Milwaukee. So it's going to be a difficult road. And again, I'm penciling in their wins. So if San Diego goes 1-1 and is at 43 points, they'll have 11 regulation wins. Baltimore will have 12. Milwaukee beat them twice. The Milwaukee would be at 11, tied with San Diego. It would kick down to the second and third tiebreakers. Head-to-head is right there. Milwaukee went 2-0. So San Diego can't tie Baltimore or Milwaukee. They lose both tiebreakers. So it's pretty crystal clear. You've got to get 4 points to get a bye. If you go 1-1, if you go into Kansas City, boom, smack them in the face again, win 8-4, dominate. And then they fly back better than you, recover better than you, come in hungrier than you, and beat you on your home floor again. Buddy, you're finishing 3rd place or 4th, depending on how St. Louis does over the course of the weekend. Now you're going to maybe be in a position where you have to watch the Empire game and root for strikers. Or are you rooting for St. Louis because you don't want to play strikers in the first round, even though it's a drive instead of a flight? That's the type of dastardly situation San Diego will find itself in if they don't win both games. If they don't win both games, they are guaranteed not to get the bye, because Baltimore's going to win and Milwaukee's going to win. So 43 is the mark, and they lose the tiebreaker. So if they just win once and they get to 43, it's not enough. They got to get to 44 to then put their tiebreaker against St. Louis. They would win that. Look at that. They've got one more regulation win than St. Louis. So they would beat St. Louis in a 1v2 44-point head-to-head. Unless, no, that's not actually true. San Diego would have to win one of the games in regulation in the last 2. Because if St. Louis won twice in regulation, 11, San Diego won twice in overtime, they'd both be at 44 points, but St. Louis would have the tiebreaker at that point. So San Diego would finish 2nd, but they'd still get a bye. But again, we can almost fill out the entire board to show what's going to happen in this last weekend. The results that you don't know are San Diego at Kansas City at San Diego, St. Louis at Empire. What are those? Where are those 9 points going? And for San Diego, it's very simple. You got to win both, or else you're going to play Empire in the first round. If you lose twice, you're going to play. I'm not even sure. Let's pull it up one more time. If San Diego lost twice, okay, that means Kansas City won twice. So Kansas City would be at 44. St. Louis would be at 41, 42, 43, 44. We don't know. Milwaukee and Baltimore would be at 43. They could play Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They could play Milwaukee in the 4-5 if they lost twice as the 5.
But then you're essentially packing up Front Wave Arena for the season as well. Which, I mean, the way it's been going this season, that's another kind of variable in there as well. we mentioned it last week. Do they want to play at home? Is that something that's beneficial for them?
Well, each series is one home, one away, but it means starting home and going away and either having to win twice or having to defend a mini game, after you've dropped that game on their floor. Okay, now play it the other way. If they win twice, 45 or 46 points, first place, bye in the first round. Likely, okay, let's say St. Louis won twice. Just say they beat Empire just to finish the equation. They're at 44. They finish second. They get the second bye. Baltimore is third. Milwaukee is fourth. Kansas City is fifth. So it would be Empire against Baltimore in the first round. It would be Kansas City against Milwaukee. San Diego would face the Kansas City-Milwaukee winner in the first round or in the second round. Oh, yeah, unless Empire advanced, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's going to be no easy games, honestly, from here on out. And I think each of those 5 teams on the table have shown you one way or another how they could beat San Diego and take them out of the tournament. The bottom 2 teams, Empire and St. Louis, can outrun you. Both of those teams, and St. Louis firmly put themselves in this category for me with their performance on Sunday. Every missed shot, every turnover was a counterattack the other way, and our guys aren't as fast as their guys. They were huffing and puffing to get back. So both of those teams can outrun you, and if they outwork you, you have to be so much more talented than them to beat them in a tournament scenario. That's going to be very, very difficult. Milwaukee outclassed you both games. They beat you by 4 and 5 goals. Neither game was particularly competitive. There wasn't, don't forget, so-and-so got a red card in the second, or anything like, no. They got beat, just kind of smacked. Baltimore oddly felt like the best matchup for San Diego because the Sockers have played really well at CQ Arena. But then Baltimore came in, and again, you were thinking, okay, it's 3-0, 40 minutes in. Baltimore's an easy matchup for San Diego. No, they came back and they won. And won in regulation. So, every one of these teams could absolutely beat San Diego. And if Kraig is talking about, Kraig Chiles, not Craig Elston, is talking about the team having that underdog chip on their shoulder, well, guys, I'll say it flat out. You're not the favorite. Like, the field is the favorite over you, which is not the way it's always been in the history of the Sockers. It's going to be tough for them. Every team has shown an ability. Each one of these teams has beaten San Diego. Each one of these teams has shown an ability to beat San Diego. Well, St. Louis only had one crack at it, but they got a point out of it. They got a point out of it and came damn close. And if, Chris played out of his mind in that game for them to get 2 points.
And the most recent one that, you played Kansas City, you go over and you win over in Kansas City, a controversial red card that gets Chad Vandergriff out. Then that small spark is what I think really ignited Kansas City into doing what they did to the Sockers on the way back as well with Rion Marquez. So if a slight like that is enough to put Kansas City over and inspire them to be leagues above what you did in that match against them, if they have another excuse in terms of, hey, we get to go ahead and have a chance to move up and have a chance to go ahead and take it to the Sockers and end up all the way to the top, that's an even bigger motivation for a Kansas City team to perform well against the Sockers. And at home, they're going to remember this is where, because of you, Chad Vandergriff wasn't able to play. Maybe that game goes a little bit differently. And in their mind, it's 2 games that they take away from that weekend.
It's going to be exciting. I just want, for the Sockers fans that are always with this team, there's no reason to say they can't win it. San Diego absolutely could win it. They could win number 1. They could become the Shield winner for the year and thus the presumptive favorite to take it. And they could fulfill that. Or they could stumble this weekend, just like what Chiles was talking about. They could drop into the bracket in a way they don't want to and find themselves round after round and take down these teams because they know down to their bones they are the most talented, the deepest, the best team. They've got the most experience. They've got the most championship pedigree by a long ways. But every one of these teams has some kind of that experience on it, from what Leite knows and Ian Bennett knows in Milwaukee to the old-time veterans that still are the connective tissue for the Baltimore Blast, to that MASL three-peat, guys like Mello. Neto's still on the coaching staff there, and Chad Porch knows how to score a goal to win $1 million because he did that 2 seasons ago at TST, right? Like all the way through. Paolo with his experience in Division I Brazilian futsal, and the way that team is coalesced. I'd say they're probably not a popular pick to make it all the way through the bracket, St. Louis, but they'd be a tough matchup. Individually, they absolutely would be. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting the way San Diego can set themselves up for theoretical success is being the best team that they've been all year this weekend. And if they can do that, they can take the hero's path. They can have the first round off, and maybe that's the difference to get Leo and Charlie to the point where they can play every game for the Sockers down the stretch. Because as we go to Sockers news, that's where the news has to be, right, Tony? Kraig's out for the year. He just said it himself. Gabby Costa's out for the year unless he parachutes in, which I don't even know if that would be that useful at this point of the year when you've got a team that's already out to sea, to have someone parachute onto the ship. I don't think that's that useful at this point. So then the question is, what about these guys? Can Leo come back and be himself? Can Charlie come back and be that difference maker for the team? Or no matter what, when they come back, are they going to be at 60%, 70%? No real ability to run or move the way that we know they can. That's the question that's left to be answered this weekend. Will either play? Will both play? Will both play in the same game? Or could one make a trip to Kansas City and another stay home and play in San Diego? These are the questions the coaching staff will have to decide between here and Friday.
Yeah, I mean, the game has already started, right? This weekend has already began in the coaching and preparing of it. And so these next 2 games, outside of what's going to happen between the 4 quarters, has to go down in terms of the details in coaching, managing, load managing, recovery, something that the Sockers, have had, struggles with this season. But you're asking them to do it now and do it at a moment where we've been told, even with Kraig right now, he's saying, yeah, maybe it's not those details. It's maybe wanting it more, going into those 50-50s in terms of the minutia of every single play matters and going into it. But it also matters in terms of, hey, you need to be able to be ready to take it to a team that's ready and prepared to move forward and die for this game and give it their all. Really, like his body gave out for Kraig Chiles, but the rest of the team still has that to be able to come back, and they have to be able to be smart, take every precaution that they need, and be smart about who stays, who goes, who travels, how you travel, what you eat, how you rest, and then be prepared to give the best 8 quarters that you have had this season.
It's going to be a banger of a weekend, man. There's no question about it. This is going to be a crazy, crazy weekend. Friday, 4 o'clock. The Sockers and Kansas City Comets from Cable Dahmer Arena. Sunday, Tony and I will be back on at 3 o'clock for the San Diego Sockers and the Kansas City Comets. And, of course, it will begin with farewell ceremonies for Kraig Chiles, a lot of his teammates in town, honorifics coming in for him and with him prior to the match. So make sure you get there early. The final Super Sockers show of the year will be prior to the game as well, which will probably be 2 minutes long, but we'll do that too. I mean, not going to be a lot of time because we got to get Kraig out there. And I think my computer's about to die. So I'm going to wrap up the show right here and say thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks to Ashley, Nick, Kraig, Chiles. Incredible interviews. Super well done. Really quality stuff all the way around. And Tony, let everyone follow what's going on. It's incredibly busy soccer time on SanDiego.Futbol.
Yeah, well, that's the name of it. SanDiego.Futbol. Follow everything that we have. We'll have a new interview here with Jonas Sandoval and Crispin McNabb as they preview against Portland and everything with San Diego FC as well. SanDiego.Futbol. Kraig, we got something special on Thursday in San Diego.
Do we? The Cromaniacs?
Los Padres.
Oh, yeah, the Padres. I thought you were talking about Cromaniacs. Yes, absolutely. Season opener, of course. Home opener, Petco Park, Thursday at 1 o'clock against the Tigers. And then Padres Hot Tub kicking off with post-game shows after almost every game. Only for our patrons, though. You can be a part of that if you're a big San Diego Padres fan at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. It's $5 per month. I mean, what can you buy for $5 these days? Not a gallon of gas. No. But a month of Padres Hot Tub? Yes. Yes, you can do that. So please do that if you're a Padres fan and check it out and help support us. That's going to do it for now. For Ashley and Kraig and Tony, I'm Kraig. Thanks to you for being great soccer fans and being part of this extra long show. And until we chat to you Sunday from Front Wave Arena, go Sockers!